Sales in the Kelowna real estate market continued to drop in May, falling another 3.8% from this same time last year. And it has a lot of people asking, including myself, where is the spring market and is it ever going to happen? But after looking at the numbers, it looks like it has been happening for a couple of months, but probably not in the way that you were expecting. In this month's market update, we'll take a look at what's happening with sales, inventory, and the effect that they're having on the price of single-family homes, townhomes, and condos, along with a couple things that surprised me in the data. So for this month's market update, I thought I would use a new tool that we have that came from our real estate board and kind of easily lays out everything that we go over. We're going to start with sales. Now you can see that sales are down 3.8% in the month of May from this time last year, and this is for this entire central Okanagan. So in May, there was 431 sales, which is up from the previous month, as we typically see in the spring. If you go back to this year, this was April to May. The previous year, April to May. If we go all the way back here 10 years ago, May was actually the biggest month or the most sales volume for any month in a year about 10 years ago. The one thing that does stand out as we go through this graph is that this May was the worst May for sales outside of the pandemic year, which was over here in 2020 when there was only 275 sales. Sales have been increasing since January, and if you look at across the graph, every year sales start to build from January through to May, June, and sometimes July. So we are seeing a spring market. It's just not as active as maybe some people were hoping. If we break this down to single family homes, sales in that segment of the market are down 8.3%. They're kind of flatlined from May to April with only a couple extra sales. And you can see in this segment of the market, it's one of the slowest Mays that we've had as well. In the townhome market, sales in this segment actually dropped 26% from this time last year. And even though we're in a spring market, the townhome market has seen 2 months of declining sales month over month. This segment of the market continues to get softer. If we look at condos though, this segment of the market really surprised me actually. Sales in the condo market were up 25% year over year. And after a little bit of a dip from March to April, sales increased again. This part of the market tells me that there's quite a bit of activity in the entry level part of the Kelowna market. And this could be a signal that more buyers are coming into the market, especially first time buyers. And again, we're not setting any records in May compared to a lot of other years, but activity in this segment of the market is starting to increase. If we move on to how many homes are listed on the market, how much inventory we have, it's down about 7.5% from this time last year, but inventory is still significantly higher than it was, say, down here in 2022, even May of 22. We only had 1,400 listings. We have twice as many listings on the market in the central Okanagan than we did just 4 years ago. If we break this down into your single family homes, the pattern still looks roughly the same. It's down 5.5% from this time last year, but up significantly from where it was in 2022. In the townhome market, same thing, inventory continues to grow. And in the condo market, it's not growing as fast as it was. And in fact, we have fewer listings than we had in May or June of this time last year. It's down 17% from how many listings we had at the same time last year. So how does this translate into the months of supply? If we look at the entire market of the Okanagan, since January, the months of supply has started to increase, and we're topping out now at where there's 9 months of available inventory or months of supply. And remember, if we break that down, that means that 1 out of every 9 homes listed for sale on the market is selling in any given month. This is significantly higher than it was 2022 when we had fewer than 1 month of available inventory on the market. So we have this extra inventory or more inventory than we've really had any time over the last 10 years outside of 2024. If we break it down into, that was the single family, if we go to the apartments, not as significantly higher as it was, but we're still sitting around that 9 months of available inventory. That is down 14% from this time last year. And in the townhome market, inventory continues to climb here. We're up to 8.4 months of available inventory. This is kind of a product of how few sales there were in this segment of the market, being down 25% over the sales from the previous year. So across the board, we are in a buyer's market. And earlier in the year, it seemed like we were trending down towards more of a balanced market. But now the months of supply keeps increasing month to month, moving us further into that buyer territory or a buyer's market. But what does that mean for prices, and what effect is it having on prices in Kelowna right now? So if we look at the average price across the central Okanagan, all property types, it's down 2.3% from this time last year. Prices had been kind of increasing from February to March into April, but overall the market softened a little bit in May. That could be a product of more months of supply and more inventory hitting the market and fewer sales. Still, that average price is about the same as it was back in 2022. If we look at single family homes, that price did soften a little bit from April to May, down 0.9% from this time last year though, so not a lot of movement year over year. In the townhome market, fewer sales last month means prices are coming down. They're down 3.4% from this time last year, but they're also down just about every month this year since March. It just keeps dropping. And in the condo apartment market, with more sales means that the price on average is kind of starting to go up again. It's gone up for the last 2 months, though not as much from April to May as it did from March to April. Still, it's down 2.6% from this time last year. So the spring market everyone expects to happen this time of year has been happening, just not at the level that you would expect. Sales are up from where they were to start the year, as they typically are, but May was still the worst May we've had in a decade outside of the pandemic year. The condo market, though, definitely did surprise me, but I think it might be too soon to call it a recovery for that segment of the market. Prices are holding steady across the market for now, especially year over year, but with months of supply increasing again due to sluggish sales, there should be some downward pressure on prices, or at the very least, nothing to support them going up. But leave your comments and questions below, and let me know what you think of this new market update format. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.